Simply put, JB Smoove is the gift that keeps on giving. Behold, JB Smoove. You are the best. Thank you so much.
You know what, man? If you look up the best in the dictionary, you know whose face pops up?
Whose?
My face.
There you go.
My wife is fabulous, man. I call her Sunshine. That's why I call her Sunshine.
You hit the lottery, man.
I do lottery. I'm telling you something. I pick the lottery all day. You know, I'm Powerball, Mega Millions, all that was derived from my soul, from me. You know that? I don't want to claim it, because if I claim it, you know, I don't want to deal with the court stuff, you know, going to court, trying to prove my point. You know, I don't want to deal with all that stuff. But let's just say, for the record, I'm blessed. It's a lottery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get paid every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to even tell you what I got paid last night. I don't want to tell you. You know, that's between me and my wife. You know.
Well, you deserve it. So how did it come to be that you got to audition for Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh, man, it's such a crazy, crazy ride, man. You know, I was a big Curb Your Enthusiasm fan when I worked for Saturday Night Live. You know, I was a writer on the show. Everybody loved the show. We would come in on right days and spend like the first 15 minutes talking about Curb last night. You know, the typical stuff. We all love the show. And I became a big fan of the show. I think I became a big, big fan maybe around season maybe 4. Maybe season 4, I became a big, big fan of the show. And then, you know, I was watching Curb one day in our Jersey apartment. My fiance, who's not my wife, and she was washing dishes. I remember distinctly because we had just had something I call hot dog soup. Hot dog soup is our version of beans franks. So we were having, you know, because we were on a budget. You know, we relocated. We were on a budget, and we were always have it with Pillsbury biscuits. You know, Pillsbury biscuits with our hot dog soup. That's what my wife called it, hot dog soup. So she was washing the dishes in the sink because sometimes we don't like to use the dishwasher because it doesn't clean them that good. So she's a hands-on kind of girl. So she's washing the dishes. I'm watching Curb. You know, we're watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I said to myself, I said, baby, I love this damn show so much. I love this dude, Larry David. I would love to be on this show one day. And my wife said, you know what? You're going to be on that show one day. She said, you say some of the craziest stuff. She said, you're going to be on that show one day. I'm telling you, and a month later, less than a month later, right, I was up for renewal at SNL. So I had already done 3 seasons on SNL, and I was about to go into my 4th season on SNL, and I didn't get renewed, right? So I'm saying, oh, man, I didn't get renewed, you know? So now, you know, I ended up, you know, saying, okay, what's next for me? You know, I met with a new agent in New York who also had offices in L.A., so I met with those guys. I ended up signing with a new agent. But it's one of those things where, you know, I fired my old agent. And once I fired my old agent, I had a funny feeling I wasn't going to come back anyway because my old agent handled a lot of people on the show. And I said, you know, if you don't have anybody to speak up for you, more than likely I'm not going to be coming back, you know. So I ended up going on the road. And then I was in Atlanta, Georgia. I remember distinctly. I was in Atlanta, Georgia in the hotel room. I had just finished on the comedy show. I was doing some stand-up. Now, all this happens within a month or two. My buddy passes away in L.A., right? My buddy's name is O.G. Pierce. He actually produced a song, This Is How We Do It. This is how we do it.
Great song.
You know that song? Yeah. So I'm in the hotel room. I get a phone call from a friend of his saying that he passed away. I'm like, what? You know, wow. You know, and OG was one of my good friends, and he also was a huge fan and a good friend. So I said to my wife, I said, baby, OG passed away. Wow, you know, we didn't even know he was sick. So I had to go to L.A. for one day, almost like a day fly in, go to his memorial service, which was a jam session at a club in L.A., and then while I was in town, I said, you know what, I'm going to go and say hi to my new agents while I'm in town. So I'm only in town one day. I go to see my new agents. They bring in 4 or 5 people to meet me from different departments. So I'm sitting there in the little office, and then we're talking about what I want to do next, you know. And then a agent walks in late. He says, sorry I'm late, JB, I was just on the phone with some folks, just tying up a last-minute phone call. And he said, how long are you in town? I said, I only came in town because my buddy passed away, and I wanted to show my respects. So he said, well, I have an audition here. I said, what's it for? He said, for Curb Your Enthusiasm. I said, what? I said, man, I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm a big fan of the show, man. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. He said, when you leaving town? I said, I'm leaving town in the morning. He said, can you go right now? I said, man, I can go right now. So I literally came in town for my buddy's memorial service that night. That morning, went to my agent, say hi to them before I was leaving town. They said, can you go over to this audition? I grabbed the paper. I go over to the audition. It was 3 items on the list of different things to talk about. I'm sitting I'm waiting in the waiting room. There's tons of, actors and comedians who I knew who were also going in for the role. And I read the sides. I said, oh, I know who this guy is. I know exactly who Leon is. Everybody knows Leon. So I have this thing I do. I like to walk into my auditions, and I tell all actors to do this. I never walk into an audition as myself. I always walk in there as the character, as who I'm portraying, so they can see how I walk, how I move, how I say hello, how I start the audition. Everything is under the character as opposed to JB going in the room and turning JB on and then doing a character. You know what I mean? It's just different. Right. So I go in there as Leon. I walk in the door, and Larry Charles and who else was there? I think Jeff Schaefer might have been there. These are guys who are directors and writers of the show. It's okay, JB, you're going to improv with Larry directly. And I had no idea I was going to be improv with Larry directly. Larry's standing in the middle of the room. I thought I was going to go on tape. You know how they put you on tape. They review the tape. You actually improv directly with Larry. I had no idea. So Larry's standing in the middle of the room, and this is exactly what I said to Larry verbatim. They said, you're going to improv with Larry. So I walk up to Larry as Leon. I said, okay, Larry, let's do this, baby. This is improv, right? I said, okay, let's improv. I said, since this is improv, I said, I don't know, Larry. I might fuck around and slap you in the face. And that's exactly what I said to him. And Larry looked at everybody else like, who the hell is this guy? He looked at me like I was crazy, and we started the audition. We laughed our asses off. We had a great time. At one point, I remember Larry walking away and walking into a corner and getting his composure and coming back. We had absolutely the best time. I leave the audition. I'm driving back to my hotel to get my luggage, and my agent calls me and said, how did it go? I said, you know what, man? I said, we had a great time. I said, if anybody else gets that role, God bless them. But I'll tell you one thing, I had a good time. And then I had to leave directly from L.A. and go straight to a comedy show in Pittsburgh. So I'm leaving sunny L.A. It's beautiful. I'll tell you it's a long-ass story. So I'm leaving sunny-ass L.A. I get on the plane. I go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I land there. It's freaking, it might have been 10 below. It's freezing. So I'm going to this comedy club, which is an hour and a half outside of Pittsburgh. So I rent a car. I start driving an hour and a half, 2 hours outside of Pittsburgh to do this one little comedy club for the weekend, for a Friday and a Saturday. I get there. This must have been the most horrible hotel I've ever stayed in my life. Have you ever been in a hotel where you don't want to get undressed? Like, I didn't want to get undressed. I was sleepy before the show. I laid on the bed in my clothes and my coat, man. It was cold in the room. I said, this is terrible. I said, I've never been in a comedy club this horrible in my life. And the comedy club was terrible. The hotel was horrible. I did the show. The guy told me to keep it clean. So I do the show. I get off the stage. The dude runs up to me. Hey, man, I told you to keep it clean. I said, man, I didn't do any dirty material. He said, you profanity. I said, man, there are people in here drinking beer, alcohol, smoking cigarettes. This is the most horrible comedy club I've ever been in my life. I said, man, how could you not curse in this comedy club? It's not even a comedy club. It's a nightclub that you converted to a comedy club. I said, this is horrible. It was filthy. It was beer, liquor. It smells. You know how you walk by those brewery kind of bars and you smell the alcohol outside? That's how bad it was. I said, really? You can't curse? Wow. So he said, you know what, man? I said, that's my act, brother. That's it. That's what I do. And he said, you know what? Maybe it's going to work out. I said, all right, man. If this ain't going to work out, he said, I'll just get a local guy from Pittsburgh to come on up that I know. He said, I'll pay you for the night, and I'll get you another time. I said, cool. I said, all right, man. I go back to the hotel. I grab my luggage, man. I get back in the car. I said, man, I'm going to leave tonight because I'm an East Coast guy. I said, I don't trust the weather. I drove 2 hours to get here. At any point in the middle of winter, it could be a storm. So I said, you know what? I'm going to drive back. So I just started driving back. Man, 15 minutes into my ride, a flurry here, a flurry there, a flurry here. Then all of a sudden it started a blizzard. A straight blizzard a half an hour into my ride to the airport. I mean, so bad I couldn't see the road. It was so horrible. I'm telling you, I could not see the highway. I'm going 10 miles an hour on the highway. I'm creeping. People are pulling over. Man, I called my wife. I said, baby, I'm going 10 miles an hour to get back to the airport. I'll call you when I get there. Then I'm driving about an hour into my trip. My agent calls me. I'm thinking he's calling me about the comedy club, how horrible it was. And the guy called him and told me he canceled me. So I answered the phone. I said, man, I'm so sorry, man. Me and that guy got into it. You know, it was a terrible comedy club, a terrible hotel. I said, this is horrible. I said, I'm doing 10 miles an hour in a blizzard right now. I said, I'm trying to make it back to the airport, you know, so I can fly back out in the morning. He said, man, look, he said, cut it down to 5 miles an hour. Take your time. Get back to the hotel. Relax. Let me tell you what happened. You got Curb Your Enthusiasm. I said, what? I said, you fucking kidding me, man? He said, no, they fucking loved you. You got Curb Your Enthusiasm. I said, this is fucking crazy. So I said, man, I'm doing 10 miles an hour on the highway in the middle of a snowstorm, man. This is crazy. He said, I said, the hotel was terrible. So I said, I guess you got to go down before you go up.
Right.
That was horrible, a horrible whole 24 hours.
It's darkest before dawn.
It's always like that. I called my wife. I said, baby, guess what happened? Baby, my agent just called me. I had Curb Your Enthusiasm. She said, oh, my God. Oh, my God. I told you. I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. Oh, my God. Then I said, baby, I'm on my way back to the hotel. I said, I'm doing 5 miles an hour on the highway. It's terrible out here. It's a blizzard. So I get back to the hotel. I call her, tell her what's going on. They needed me to come straight back to L.A. So I went straight back to L.A. to shoot. This is crazy. I went straight back to L.A. to shoot, shot 2 episodes, right? The first day on the job, me and Larry, we had so much goddamn fun. And this was the stain blanket episode, you know, with the stain on the blanket. So we did that episode, right? And then right after we, you know, in between scenes, you know, me and Larry was just sitting in our, you know, director chairs talking. And he said, man, this is fun. He said, it feels as though we've been working together for years. I said, isn't that weird how things work, Larry? Sometimes these two cosmic things meet somewhere in the universe and shit happens the way shit supposed to happen. And we just laughed about it. So I went back to L.A. I had to pack all my stuff because I had to come back to shoot and we had the holiday off. So I had to relocate back to L.A. So we had to pack all our shit, cancel our lease, put everything in a Penske truck. This is a crazy story. It's long as fuck. So put everything in a Penske truck, right? Had to put my wife's car on the back of a trailer. Had to pull her car with the Penske truck, threw all our shit in the Penske truck. We left on a Thursday night at 7 p.m. Had to be at work that Monday on Curb. We started driving. We drove through 3 storms. We drove through an ice storm, a rainstorm, and a severe snowstorm in freaking Arizona, right? A hailstorm in Oklahoma City. And we made it back into L.A. at 1 p.m. on Sunday. We didn't stop for a hotel. We stopped and got food here and there. And we had our doggy in between us in the Penske truck. We took turns driving. We made it back by 1 p.m. Sunday afternoon. I had to be at work that Monday. And we unloaded. We did everything at one time. We bought a house on the phone. We did all this shit. It was crazy, man. No, it was fucking crazy. We bought a house over the fucking phone. We had to come home, come to L.A., sign the paperwork, get out. It was crazy. So we did our whole season. This is the craziest, most eeriest part of the whole shit. Did our whole season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? We get to the rap party. Now, the rap party has this thing called the blooper reel. Right? It's called a gag reel, blooper reel. So what they do is the gag reel is, you know, it's just a video of all the great moments of the season, all the crew, personal photos, cool stuff to remind everybody how great the season was. And, you know, they put the gag reel on, right? The first scene on the gag reel is Larry and I. We're doing outtakes from the first episode, which was the stained blanket. And we're doing outtakes from that, you know. And guess what? Throughout the season, my whole thing, I would say that's how I do's it. Because I came in town, you know, because my buddy, you know, he passed away. So I used That's How I Do's It, right? Because he did the song, This Is How I Do It. So I used that the whole season because, you know, as a tribute to him. So we get to the freaking gag reel. Me and Larry's in the first scene on the gag reel. And the theme song to the gag reel was This Is How We Do It by Montel Jordan, produced by my friend O.G. Pierce. My wife and I looked at each other like, holy shit. Man, all I could do was look at her, man, and a chill went up our spines, man. We were like, holy shit. That's OG saying hello. And I just pointed to the sky, man. I said, wow. All that being said, that's a long way to go. But all that being said is, man, the universe sometimes works in mysterious ways, man. We have no idea what the hell we're getting ourselves into, but sometimes it's a good trip and a good road, and you recognize the main thing that you recognize these amazing moments and these blessings. And it's crazy, man, that that song came all the way back.
I would have lost it.
This is how we do it. We were like, wow. So, and that being said, this was all like, I guess it's predestined, man, sometimes the things that you were supposed to be into. And I've been an improv dude my whole life. The first thing I ever did when I started doing stand-up was, before I ever got on a stand-up stage, I said, I want to know who I want to be on stage. And I took an improv class at the Improv Comedy Club in New York City. This is how crazy it is. That was the last improv class they ever had there, because it was being taught by Marty Friedman from SCTV. And it was the last one ever. That summer, I took an improv class, put that tool in my toolbox, and that whole club shut down months later. The whole club went out of business. So I was one of the last people to take an improv class at the Improv Comedy Club in New York City.
Are you ready to make your next move? Well, Squarespace wants to be with you when you do. Squarespace gives people a powerful and beautiful online platform from which to make their next move known to the world. With Squarespace, people can lock down their ideas with a unique domain, create a website to launch their idea, a portfolio to get their project out there, and an online store to officially open for business. There's so much that Squarespace can do for you. So what are you waiting for? Make your next move with Squarespace. Create a beautiful website or online store with award-winning templates. There's nothing to install, patch, or upgrade, ever. And Squarespace offers award-winning 24/7 customer support with fully transparent and simple to execute setup. Squarespace is used by a wide range of creatives, people, and businesses. Use offer code ORIGINS for 10% off your first purchase of a website and domain. That's offer code ORIGINS. And make your next move with Squarespace. Hey, when you were on Saturday Night Live, was there a part of you that was frustrated that you weren't part of the cast?
Oh, of course, because I went for cast. I actually went for cast initially. I was one of the last three people. It was Finesse Mitchell, it was Kenan Thompson, and myself were the last three people we went to NBC. We did our test. We all auditioned at the same time at the Comedy Club. We all went to our test at NBC. I didn't get it, but it was all good. Of course I was frustrated. You know what? Not frustrated, because I also believe that, things come within time. So for me, it worked out great for me because I got a chance to be in monologues. I got a chance to be in sketches. I had a chance to write on the show. I did warm up on the show for 2 seasons. And I also did Conan O'Brien when he was still at NBC. I was on camera with him doing sketches. I must have did 10, 11 sketches for Conan O'Brien show. So you got to realize, let's count these checks. That's a check for writing on the show, a check for doing warm-up on the show, a check for being in sketches, in monologues, a check for doing Conan O'Brien. That's 4 checks additional on top of my writing check, which was fine to me. I'm on camera here and there. But also, a lot of the writers on the show did move up to become cast members. So for me, it wasn't a big deal. Of course, I would love to have got more stuff on air, of course. And, of course, who wouldn't want to be a cast member? I think I could have brought something very valuable to the show. But, my guys made it, and I was happy for them. So, and I got a chance to write for them and write for a bunch of amazing people. And SNL looks great on your resume. So for me, it wasn't a big deal. Of course, it became something totally different when you're trying to get stuff on the air. That's hard. That can be frustrating at times because you think you believe you have an amazing idea for a sketch, and it's just a big barrel of sketches. You got to realize you had 16 writers, you had cast members who wrote their stuff, you had Update who wrote their stuff. It's a lot of, that's almost, if you add it up, maybe like 30 different components to this barrel of sketches. So it's kind of like trying out for the cheerleading team every week. They post that list of people who made the cheerleading team in the hallway, in front of the gym, on the wall, on a piece of loose leaf paper, and you go by there, you look, you see if your name is on the list, and you didn't make that damn team again. That's how I felt every week. But it was fun. Still a great time over there. Learned a lot. That machine builds character. It builds pace. Live TV is the most amazing thing to learn from because you don't have time to sit there and ponder too many things. You got to make quick decisions, and it really helps you out. It's like being in the gym every day.
Hey, where did you find the character of Leon? I mean, we're not in that blanket episode, but when Susie walks in and she starts talking to Larry and yelling at Larry, I remember you're sitting on the couch, you guys are playing cards, and I think you go, I love a woman who talks like that. I mean, like, how did you find who he was?
I think Leon is just, you know what? I had to he has to be a little bit of me in some sense, but I take what I can use from JB and I apply it to Leon, because I think what it is, I always find thinking in the moment works the best for a character like Leon. And for me, I just love thinking of the most obscure thing I could think of. I always related to branches. Branches are things that allow you to veer off the main road and back onto the main road a little later. So for me, I changed it. And that's kind of what improv becomes. You change the rules a little bit. It had nothing to do with my attraction to a woman who has a smart-ass mouth like that. But what it was is she came in there on a whole different thing. So to shake it up a little bit, I threw a little branch in there, meaning Leon loves a woman with a smart-ass mouth. So that I like to give Larry a little something new he didn't know about the character. Every time we get on camera together, every time they say action, I like to give writers and give Larry something he didn't know about Leon. He's outspoken. I guess he'd be seen a little bit as misogynistic, but I think he has good intentions. His intentions are always well. He means no disrespect. He'll let you know how he is and the kind of things he loves, which in turn sometimes ends up being what women love, what guys love about him. And I think he's anchored in as this particular outspoken character that I think people tend to gravitate to. And his Leonisms are things that are lasting, and they become this mantra of some sense to a lot of people out there who just love a free spirit like him. He never thinks about tomorrow. He's always living in that moment of today. A lot of people live like that. I got friends who live like that, who are so free-minded. They don't have shit, but they're free-minded, and they don't have a worry in the world because they find some way to connect the dots to life. I don't know how they do it. They survive.
I think one of the coolest things about Leon is that Larry not only respects his opinion, but always asks for it. Because Leon is like the wise one. I mean, we could be watching a show where Larry's mentoring Leon and Larry's trying to teach Leon this or whatever. I think it's so cool. It's just the opposite. Larry's constantly coming to Leon for advice, and Leon has a sense of the world. I mean, no, you got to do this first, and you got to do this, and what did he say to you? And no, this is what you got to do about that. I think that's totally cool.
Yeah, it's the greatest thing ever. I think, honestly, Leon gives Larry good, bad advice. This advice, it works. And even in my Leon book I got coming out, I say, the one thing I think that's fitting is I always say, Leon, he ain't wrong, he's just not right. It's like he said, this shit sounds right. It sounds complete. It's right, but he's not wrong, but he's just not right. His direction, his motives behind it are not right.
Like Larry going up to that anti-Semite, ripping open his ass.
Yeah, on some level, you gotta defend yourself as a man. But am I right that you should approach that guy and get your ass whooped? I'm not sure.
What was it like for you after each season? Because with Curb, it's so different than any other comedy. You don't know. Larry says, "Oh, it might be my last season." I mean, how did you deal with the fact that who knows if it's going to come back?
You know what? Yeah, it's one of those things, man. Because Larry's very particular. And I think the thing about it, I think this is weird, but I think Larry and I, have a lot in common. We both have a lot of interest. And I do believe we both kind of, in some sense, think like comedians. I really think we have a lot in common because I'm quick to say no to something if someone asks for it. I always feel like if you ask for it, I got to produce it. I got to produce to the point where I got to satisfy your hunger for it, wholeheartedly. I can't, when someone says, oh my God, tell me a joke about tell me a joke about the kangaroo and the pig. And you're like, oh man, it wasn't that funny. No, the shit is funny, man. Tell them a joke. That joke has got to be over funny. It's got to be bigger than what the person is portraying it as. You know what I'm saying? And that puts you on the spot. And now that you did this body of work that's so goddamn amazing and getting praised for it, Emmy Awards, Emmy nominations, you have to produce. You got to top yourself. So you're always in this thing where you're going against yourself all the time. You know, and that becomes this thing where you almost like, you rather say no to something because the expectations are so high rather than deal with, you know, whether it's going to be as funny or better than what you previously did. So I think I do that all the time. You know, if you ask for it, I got to give it to you tenfold because I got to live up to what you see it as and what you're describing it to the person as. I got to top that. It's got to be way funnier than what you are portraying it as, you know. So I think Larry has this thing, you know, that about them we all get caught up in it as comedians. You know, we want to make sure if we come back, this has got to be the funniest shit ever. Or the person who adores us the most and give us that feedback has got to amp you up so much that you start doing it and you get past a certain threshold and you can't say no, you can't go backwards now because you're already too far in.
What was it like when you heard that there was going to be a season 9?
You know what, man? Something in me said that, you know what, I believed in my heart that he would. You know, when I first met Larry, I said, Larry, you know, man, you can't stop now. I said, people love the damn show. I told him, I said, you got to pick a number or where to stop at that makes sense, you know. And we talked about that, but he never had an indication of when he wanted to come back, if he wanted to come back. But for me, when he said he was coming back, I kind of had a thing in my belly like he would at some point come back because, you know, the market, people love it. And there's too many things going on in the world for him to address. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the world he has to address. And Curb is that show that does that. You know, Larry pushes the boundaries of humor in the coolest way possible. And people are thirsty for it. They can't wait till the new season.
Parachute sheets are the softest and most comfortable sheets you'll ever own. And why is that? Well, simply put, it's because they're made from the very best fabrics. Parachute sheets have a clean, minimalistic style that come in neutral colors, so they work perfect in any bedroom. And the best part of Parachute is that their sheets get softer with time. Plus, if you're a person who wants to make an impact on the world, and frankly, who doesn't, then Parachute is the company for you. They've partnered with the United Nations Foundation to donate malaria prevention bed nets, and they've already donated 16,000 so far. Here's another great part of the story. Parachute offers a 60-night trial, so if you don't love your sheets, you just send them back, no questions asked. Now, if you're wondering how that makes a positive impact on the world, well, all returns are donated to Habitat for Humanity, and that's a great cause. So don't wait. Visit parachutehome.com/origins for free shipping and returns. Again, that's parachutehome.com/origins for free shipping and returns. It doesn't get any easier. It's time to get better sleep with Parachute. Was it like you were never away once you guys all got back together?
Man, it felt like after a take or two, let me tell you something. And for me, it's once I put my Leon wardrobe on, once I put my do-rag on my head, you know, I put my sneakers on, you know, my Leon jeans and my tank top, I'm right back into the flow. You know, and I think, you know, it was one of those things. It's like taking the training wheels off again. You know what I mean? Putting the training wheels on for a second and taking them back off again. So I know how to ride a bike. And it became this thing, man. It was like butter, man. It was like butter. You know, it was just like everything came right back, man. And, you know, everyone, all the crew, the same crew, you know, all the cast, and we all just started flowing again like normal, man, because I think Larry makes it easy for you also. I think it's kind of like playing T-ball. He just slow pitches it so, you know, it's just a slow pitch, man, or it's sitting on that tee, and all you got to do is hit it. Just hit the damn ball, man. You know, don't overthink it. Just have a good time. Just be a character. And for us, you know, it works. It works for us. You know, it works for the formula of the show. It really works, and you can't help but hit the ball. Larry sets you up so well. So coming back was easy breezy, man. We all got back on our bike, and we all started pedaling. And it worked. It works out. I truly believe it's going to be one of the greatest seasons of Curb Enthusiasm ever.
Wow.
You know?
Can I ask you, JB, personally and professionally, what has Curb meant to you?
Curb has meant me as a comedian, me as an actor, expanding my demographics. You know, I've met people. I've met, you know, producers, directors. You know, they all tend to pull from this Curb Rolodex of actors and what we do. And I'm anchored in now. I'm anchored into one of the greatest, to me, one of the best shows ever on television. You know, I'm anchored in one of the best people, that being Larry, biggest heart. You know, creatively speaking, you know, it allows me to grow. You know, everyone on the show has been so amazing. This is what, you know, we get into this entertainment for. That's to make people happy, make people laugh, take the stress off your body, make you feel good about, you know, to sit there in front of the show and watch it. You know, we say, you know, of course, Larry has an opportunity to say things that you can't say things that, you know, speak for you sometimes, you know, on these weird moments in life that only he seems to see. It makes us cringe. It makes us laugh. You know, Curb has been an amazing process for me. And I think this is what it's all about, man. I wished I could be on this show. My wife told me I would be on this show. You know, things had to happen in a certain order for me to be in this show. You know, SNL had to go away. You know, I always realized this, that if I had got renewed for SNL, I would have never had opportunity to do Curb Enthusiasm. If my buddy didn't pass away, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do Curb Enthusiasm. You know, all these things had to happen in a certain way, in a certain order, for me to end up where this journey, to end up on Curb Enthusiasm. So for me, it's big for me, because all this could have been. I could be still at SNL right now if I had reason. Who knows? I could be a cast member on SNL right now. You know, I could have moved up and became a cast member. I could have, you know, my buddy could have been still alive. My wife, maybe that night we didn't even watch Curb that night, and she wasn't washing dishes, and we didn't have our hot dog soup. We didn't have our Pillsbury biscuits with our soup, with our hot dog soup, with our beans and franks. You know, all these things had to come into play. You know, hell, you know, I could have made cast member on SNL instead of not making cast member and getting offered a writing job. You know, all these things had to happen. Another thing is I could have not taken an improv class. You know, I could have not learned the rules of improv. You know, I took that improv class, I put that tool in my toolbox, and I ended up on the greatest improv show in the history of television. So all these things had to happen in order for me to end up where I ended up at. And it truly is, it's a blessing, man. All things come, you know, in the way it's supposed to come. You know, I didn't step on any toes. I didn't burn any bridges. And, you know, and this is the way I've always done it. And I'm very patient in my movements. You know, if I don't feel like, if I can't give you 20% of something, I don't do it. I say, you know what, man, I'm not into it. You know, give that blessing to somebody else. Give that role to somebody else. And also, if you're not going to allow me to give you 20%, you know, if you're not going to allow me to do JB, you know, for me, it doesn't work. And I think that's what all actors should do. Because that director, that writer, that producer, they have a dream also. And their dream is to produce an amazing show. And if you show up to the show, you only 50%, you're wasting their dream and their time. If I can't go all out 120% and be JB, I'm shortchanging myself and I'm shortchanging your project.
Was there a moment from one of the episodes you did with Larry, like a scene or something from the show that you remember that just maybe you cracked yourself up, or Larry cracked up so much that you guys had to, you know, stop shooting, or something that was just kind of really memorable?
We had one episode. They didn't even air it because sometimes I get on this tangent, I get on this thing, and sometimes all the ideas come at once. And let me tell you something. We had this one scene we did. They didn't even use it, but I swear it must be 10 minutes long of me just ranting. And I knew I was ranting because anytime the camera guy starts shaking and you see him like kind of hold it in, and you see everybody in the scene like laughing who are not on camera, and it's just me on camera or Larry and myself, this is one scene we did. It's the moment when I was thinking Larry about how well he took care of my sister Loretta. Loretta was sick. I was thinking him how he's going to stay with my sister, even though, she's sick. She has cancer. You won't be able to have sex with her. And as Loretta's brother, I was telling Larry that how proud I am that he is taking care of my sister, even though he won't be able to have sex with her anymore. And the scene is supposed to be me telling Larry he's not going to be able to have sex with her no more, and Larry being Larry, like, oh shit, I got to get rid of her. In his mind, he's thinking he got to get rid of her. But I'm saying, I thank you for being with her, and I can't believe, a man of your nature, I'm really proud to be a friend of yours, just knowing that you will not be able to have sex with my sister anymore, that's not your whole motivation, that you're willing to have a dry dick for the rest of your life with her and not have sex and have to masturbate because you can't have sex with her. All you can do is rub her breast. That's it. You can't have sex with her anymore. And I did 10 minutes of this shit. And let me tell you something, man. I never laughed so hard inside my body. I said, they're going to put a statue of you in the middle of City Hall, and there's going to be you standing there like Caesar, naked, like this, with a dry-ass dick. And let me tell you something. I must have did 15 minutes of this shit. And inside I'm dying laughing. Everybody's dying. I can hear them laughing in the tent. That's how crazy it was. But they didn't use it. But for me, that was one of the funniest moments ever that never got aired. But as far as the ones that got aired, I think it has to be Leon coming to New York and me talking about the Prius, about driving the Prius across country from California to New York with no driver's license, and and telling him all my adventures I had in the car, how I stopped at a rest area, picked some girls up, I picked the family up, they had a baby seat, and thinking how tough this car is and all the things I did with the car. I think Leon showing up in New York to me is the greatest thing ever. And we had so many versions of it, and I just kept making up stories about the car and what I did with the car. That's one of my favorite. And I think the season 6 when he wanted me to snatch the purse.
Oh, that was fantastic.
And make him be a hero. I think that's the top one.
Yeah.
That's the top one. Because his face, he didn't know what the hell to expect.
Well, when you said you were going to rough him up, he goes, what? What? Well, I got to rough you up.
I got to fuck you up, Larry. Shit, I got to rough you up. You can't do it. You can't do it half speed. You want to be a hero, right? The more fucked up you look, the bigger hero you're going to be. You can't do that shit half speed. I'm going to let you just take it from me, snatch it out of my hand like a bitch.
Oh, it's the best.
I think that is my favorite all-time scene ever, because I think it kept escalating to the point where it's like, wait, what do you mean fuck me up?
I can't thank you enough. And when your book comes out, man.
The book is going to drop, man. We just turned that book in yesterday. It's going to be out probably October 24th. Book of Leon, Philosophy of a Fool. It's going to be interesting, man. It's really his take on things that he would know about. Leon can't. It's impossible for Leon to go over your head because some of this shit is just so, simple. But his take on it, I think, is amazing. I love the character. I think this is going to be a fun book.
I'm just so grateful for you participating, and thank you so much.
Oh, Jim, thank you, man, for being cool and patient in my long-ass stories. And
no, that's
I hope
terrific.
I gave you everything you needed.
Everything. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this Origins original. Please be sure to subscribe to Origins for new chapters every month, along with other Origins originals and Origins conversations. Thanks so much. For Origins, I'm Jim Miller.